Hello everybody, Jillian here. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm using Amy Tangerine's Finders Keepers Collection to scrap another layout. I'm using this photo of my dad, my son, and my niece from their recent visit to my house. So let's get started. So today I am using inspiration from Gina Laderos. She's on the American Crafts design team, and she creates layouts similar to the one I'm about to make, where she uses a lot of different small pieces of pattern paper on her backgrounds, and I'm going to link in the description below to several of her projects on the American Crafts blog so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I really like her designs. So what I do is I get a piece of white paper to use as my background, and then I just take my pencil and I sketch out this diamond pattern that I want to have kind of cascading down the layout. So I didn't know how big to cut my pieces of pattern paper, so that's why I'm sketching it out, and then I'm going to get my ruler out and measure it. It comes out to be about 1.5 inches there. And so what I did when I cut the pattern paper, I cut 1.5-inch squares because I guess I just wasn't thinking, but I like the way that it turns out, so it was a happy accident. So what I'm doing, I'm not going to make you watch me cut down all of this paper, but what I do is just cut 3 squares out to make sure that's the way I want it to look. And I used a very similar technique on my latest Heritage Scrapbook process video that I made, and I'm going to post that in a couple Saturdays, so you'll see another way to use a similar technique. So I have everything cut out at this point, and I go back as I am laying these down because I didn't have enough variety of colors on my page. I wanted to bring in some of the pink from my niece's dress. So I go through some of the other pattern papers, and I end up pulling a pink and white polka dot, and then I pull a yellow and white diamond pattern. So the navy paper that has those ovals on it, the different color ovals, I wanted that to be featured predominantly on the page, and when I put them down I wanted to make sure that the ovals were always going in different directions, and I like the movement that it creates on the page. I think it would have been a little boring if I had just put them, you know, going in the same direction. Originally I thought I wanted to use that camera pattern paper. I end up fussy cutting those and using them as an embellishment later. Shocking! Me using cameras! So just figuring out, I'm going to move the squares around several times. I'm just trying to figure out the best placement for them. I knew that I wanted to use a few strips of washi tape to kind of anchor the photo in the middle of the page. And I wanted to mount my photo on some more pattern paper, so I'm going to look through some more of the 12x12s here to see what I want to use. Originally, I thought I would use this pattern in place of the navy and oval pattern paper, but it just didn't incorporate enough color, so I'm glad that I did get to use it on the page in the end. Okay, so now I'm getting the squares stuck down, and I'm not being careful to make sure that there's, you know, the exact same amount of space in between each square. So if you look closely, which who would, when you're flipping through, you'll see that some of the diamonds don't necessarily line up. I'm pointing out there that I really like the way that the 4 clusters of patterns look together. That's something that Gina has done before. So what I'm doing is going through this washi book, and I'm going to pull 3 different patterns to put underneath the photo. First, I'm going to start with that hello piece. I thought that was a good anchor with the dark, with the navy, so I put that down first. And then I go ahead and pull up this transparent strip of washi with the gold polka dots on it. And I had some trouble getting these off of the booklet, so I'm peeling them off camera and then kind of putting them on the edge of my desk. So I go ahead and get the first one stuck down, and then I don't end up using that in the end. It's kind of a nightmare how at what point I realize I don't like it. Using the green plus signs, and then I wanted to tear off some of the polka dot. So I'm going ahead and trimming off the excess that's hanging off the edge. I'm not using a piece of white cardstock, I'm using the reverse of a piece of pattern paper that I'm not crazy about. So I wanted to put my title on the strips of washi, and what I'm indicating there is I can't use, in my mind, the gold polka dot with the silver from those stickers at the top. And then I had pulled out the Maggie Holmes stickers from her confetti collection, and they were kind of cream, and I didn't like the way that that looked. So I end up going with the Amy Tangerine Rise and Shine stickers. I think the name of them is Alyx. I go ahead and swap out the gold polka dot for this floral washi. I'm barely able to mix metals on my person, let alone my scrapbook pages, so I couldn't make the gold and silver work on top of each other to boot. So the title of this page is GANPA. My niece, when she was not much younger, used to call my dad Grandpa, Grandpa when they would FaceTime, and so I thought that was really sweet. So next, I'm going to put a couple of these squares up at the top. Sorry that it's cut off a bit, but I'll move it down. So I go ahead and get the squares down in the bottom left corner, and then a couple in the top right, and I end up adding more up in the top left. I end up adding more at the top, and you'll see why. Next, I want to put the cameras on the page, and so I'm going to cut them out, but I'm trying to figure out which color I want where. So I go ahead and put the mint camera on some foam, and I put that up towards the top. I really like the way that the yellow and the mint and the pink look together in this collection. The pink goes down by the title, and then you can see there that I swapped out the washi tape. Unfortunately, it was after I had put my title down, so that was a bit of a nightmare to get up. Next, I want to add this Studio Calico paperclip. I really like the color, and I end up going where I think I originally put it. I have these vellum hearts from my messy box from A Beautiful Mess, and I end up putting one in the bottom left of the layout. And I'm also using these epoxy stickers from Dear Lizzy's Polka Dot Party collection. I use the one that says favorite, which I'm usually reluctant to use because I don't ever want to be accused of playing favorites. Or, you know, let's say that my sister has more kids or I have more kids. I don't want, you know, I wouldn't want anyone to go back and look at this however many years later and, you know, infer that these were his two favorite grandkids. I don't know. I'm usually careful about about putting things like that on layouts. So anyway, I put it on here, and that's probably why I have it from such an older collection, is because I didn't want to use it before. Anyway, so I'm going through the Amy Tangerine Rise and Shine phrase stickers, and I put one down there that says, I think it says, "This makes you make me happy." That's what it says. And then I go ahead and I'm going to staple the vellum heart in the bottom left, and I wanted to put it on another spot on the page, but I didn't really want it to overlap those nice edges of the pattern paper. I'm putting down the number 2 on this epoxy sticker on top of the heart, since there are 2 grandchildren in the photo. And I use glossy accents to get that down, and I always manage to get it on the layout, and it dries shiny, which I don't like, so I really need to switch adhesives. And then I'm going to use the enamel hearts from the Finders Keepers Collection and put those at a few spots around the page. I pull out my roller phrase stamps, and I keep the back of the packaging, and I have it, you know, washi taped onto the wall in front of me so that it's literally right in front of me and I don't forget that I have these stamps. So I've never used this one before. It's an older Dear Lizzy stamp. I don't even know what collection it's from. And I stamped 2 phrases, and they did not turn out great, as you can see. So what I do is I go ahead and put some more squares down to cover it up, and then I move to the camera, and then I stamped the date just to the bottom right of the title. I stamped that off camera just in case I made a mistake you guys didn't see. And then I'm going ahead and I'm going to try to stamp the same phrase, "This is Happy Place," again in almost the same spot in the top left of the layout. And what I should have done originally was done a few tests like I did there, and then I realized, okay, let's go for it. I thought I wanted to try the exact same sentiment again, but I chickened out and I didn't use it. So then I used the phrase stamp from the documentary collection, and I stamp XOXO. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a couple enamel hearts up there too. I did a couple more things after my camera ran out of memory, including adding some journaling to the bottom right along with a few more pieces of pattern paper. And that's my layout. Here are a few close-up shots. I really hope you guys are enjoying seeing me use this collection. I know that I like to watch YouTube videos to see how people use their elements and pattern papers together. It really gives me some good inspiration. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys soon.